There is a lake in Arizona that is now 93% gone, and you can stand at its edge and not see a single drop of water. San Carlos Lake sits at a fraction of 1% of what it was built to hold. A reservoir designed to store more than 900,000 acre feet of water now holds 388, not 388,000, 388. Behind a concrete dam that rises 249 feet into the desert sky. The water has thinned to a muddy film you could wade across without getting your knees wet. This lake has touched literal zero before. In the spring of 2021, it fell to roughly 42 acre feet, a puddle in a basin built for a small sea. Downstream, 100 miles from here, farm canals are still drawing water that was released from this very dam. The lake sits inside the San Carlos Apache Reservation. The fish are concentrating into shrinking pools, and biologists are warning of a kill. Almost a century ago, when this dam was dedicated and the basin behind it was still nothing but grass, the humorist Will Rogers reportedly looked at the empty bed and said, "If this were my lake, I'd mow it." But here is the detail that tells the real story. The drought did not empty this lake by itself. Something else did. This reservoir was built on Apache land for a purpose that has nothing to do with the Apache, and the water it loses does not stay on Apache land. It is sent away. And this is the part no one told you. This lake has already hit 42 acre feet once, basically nothing. And this year it ran dry earlier than any year ever recorded. Not the worst drought year, the earliest. The irrigation district that manages the water has said it plainly. While the lake has been low before, this is the soonest in the calendar it has ever gone effectively dry. Read that again. A reservoir that took almost a century to set its records is now breaking them on the front end of the year before the worst heat of summer has even arrived. Earlier this year, the lake dropped below 100 acre feet. By April, the tribe's own wildlife department put it at under 2% of capacity, falling about 0.5% every 10 days. By the start of June, 388 acre feet. The boat ramps are out of the water entirely. The famous concrete launch near the dam ends in cracked mud and open air, and the water is still leaving. To understand how a lake gets to this point, you have to go back to 1928. That year, the federal government finished Coolidge Dam, a strange and beautiful structure, 3 concrete domes braced across a narrow canyon on the Gila River in eastern Arizona. It was an engineering marvel, the first of its kind at that scale anywhere. President Calvin Coolidge himself came out to dedicate it on March 4th, 1930. There was a problem. The reservoir behind it was almost empty. The basin had filled in with silt and sprouted grass, and so a man stood at the dedication of a great dam looking out over what was essentially a meadow. That is when Will Rogers, the most famous humorist in America, reportedly delivered the line that has followed this lake for 96 years. "If this were my lake, I'd mow it." The line was a joke. It was also a warning that nobody heard, because the lake has been emptying ever since. Since that dam was built, San Carlos Lake has been nearly empty at least 20 times. It has been completely full exactly 3. 20 times to 3. That is not a reservoir. That is a heartbeat swinging between near zero and near full. And right now it is at the bottom of the beat, earlier than it has ever bottomed out before. Picture where this is happening. Drop down from the map of the United States into the southwest, into Arizona, about 90 miles east of Phoenix. There is no big city here. There is the Gila River running west out of the New Mexico mountains, and there is a place where the canyon pinches tight, and that is where they put the dam. Behind it, when there is water, spreads